What do you do when your name is on the sign, but you're locked out of the building? When your own brand turns against you, and the place that once celebrated you becomes the center of a bitter legal war? Why did Richard Rawlings, who was the man behind Gas Monkey Garage, go from rock star restaurateur to courtroom adversary, fighting tooth and nail over a brand he helped build? And how did a bar that started as an extension of his empire end up at the heart of a $6 million lawsuit? In today's video, we'll be looking at a story where ambition, ego, and a brand battle took an unexpected turn. This is the explosive legal clash between Richard Rawlings and Gas Monkey Bar and Grill. Make sure to watch till the end because you think you know the story, but you've never heard it like this. By the early 2000s and 10s, Richard Rawlings had already turned Gas Monkey Garage into a household name. Through the success of his show, Fast and Loud, and his charismatic on-screen presence, he wasn't just a guy who flipped cars, but rather he was a full-blown brand. But Rawlings wanted more. He didn't just want to build custom rides, he wanted to build experiences for his customers. So in 2013, he took a bold leap into the bar and restaurant business. That's when Gas Monkey Bar and Grill was born. Richard didn't manage the restaurant himself. Instead, he licensed his name and image to a group of investors who would handle operations in his stead. In theory, it seemed to be a big win-win situation for Richard as he got to expand his empire without running the kitchen, and the investors got to cash in on the Gas Monkey name. The first location was opened just 2 miles from the garage itself. From day one, it attracted fans of the show, car lovers, and curious locals alike. Richard even hosted his birthday party there in 2014, posing for pictures and mingling with guests like a proud owner. But behind the scenes, things weren't going so smoothly. Cracks in the foundation. Apparently, even during construction of the restaurant, tensions were high. According to Tim Hank House, a worker involved in the build, Richard was often a disruptive force. He claimed Rawlings showed up frequently, complained about the design, and berated the construction crew. He described Rawlings as acting like a spoiled child who didn't understand how building projects worked. Eventually, the managing partner Daniel Flitty had to step in and make a shocking move. He banned Richard Rawlings from the construction site altogether. The tension really was that bad. Despite being the face of the brand, Richard had no ownership in the venue, only a licensing deal. So in the end, Flitty had every right to keep him out. But the ban didn't stop Richard from being involved, though. Soon after the bar had opened, he started to insert himself into decisions and promotions. From the investor's side, this was seen as overstepping some serious boundaries. From Richard's perspective, his name and image were on the line. This made him feel like he had every right to protect his brand. In 2015, things escalated when Richard started questioning the bar's financial transparency. He sent an email requesting a full view of the business records. Flitty responded by assuring him that the documents of the records were available, and he was welcome to audit them at any time. But Richard didn't believe that was true. In his reply, he further insinuated that the documents either didn't exist or weren't being shared honestly. The atmosphere was starting to turn combative. Soon after, Richard allegedly made public statements suggesting Flitty was dishonest. Flitty confronted him, writing an email that called out the accusations. He reminded Richard that the records were open and insisted the comments were damaging to his reputation. Richard's response was short but revealing. "My mistake for mixing drinking and emotions. Sorry for that." For a brief moment, things seemed to settle, but that calm didn't last long. What happens when a brand becomes bigger than the people behind it, and neither side is willing to back down from a fight? In 2016, Richard made an offer to buy the bar outright, along with a second location called Gas Monkey Live. Negotiations were underway, but ultimately, the deal fell through. Sources close to the situation suggested financial limitations were part of the reason. Then the following year, new buyers stepped up. They were ready to purchase both locations, and things were moving quickly, until, according to the investors, Richard got involved and made things hard again. They accused him of interfering with the sale, claiming he made damaging remarks about them to the potential buyers. They believed this was done intentionally, perhaps because Richard was still upset that his own buyout attempt had failed the year before. But things went from tense to explosive in June 2018. That's when Daniel Flitty and Gas Monkey Bar and Grill filed a $6 million lawsuit against Richard Rawlings. The claims behind the lawsuit were serious too. Defamation, breach of contract, and interference with their business operations were listed as the reasons behind their action. According to them, Richard's public comments and behind-the-scenes behavior damaged their reputation, disrupted a major business deal, and broke the terms of his licensing agreement. It was no longer just a disagreement, it was all-out war. The counterattack. But Richard wasn't one to back down. He fired back, calling the lawsuit baseless and accusing the bar of misusing his brand. Then in March 2019, he filed a countersuit. This time, he was the one demanding compensation, $1 million to be exact. His counterclaims hit hard. First, he argued that the bar continued using the Gas Monkey name and imagery even after he officially ended the licensing deal in late 2018. He said they had no right to keep using the branding, but they did it anyway. Second, he took issue with their partnership with a whiskey company. He claimed they used his brand to promote it without his approval. To Richard, this was a violation of trust and image control. Third, he criticized the bar's decision to host events he considered lewd and inappropriate. He argued these didn't align with the image he wanted for the Gas Monkey brand and that they had tarnished what he had built. Finally, he alleged the bar had stopped paying licensing fees well before the agreement ended. In his eyes, they were profiting off his name without holding up their end of the deal. Both lawsuits were in full swing. Legal teams were battling it out, and fans were left wondering how it had all gone so wrong. The end game. But just as the lawsuits were gaining steam, something surprising happened. In August 2019, both sides agreed to a settlement. The terms were kept confidential, but one thing was clear: they were done fighting. A joint dismissal was filed, and the courtroom drama came to a quiet end. Not long after, the fallout became public in another way. The bar was rebranded. Gone was the Gas Monkey name. By 2021, it reopened as Amplified, a music venue and restaurant with a fresh identity, completely separate from Richard Rawlings. As for Richard, he closed down Gas Monkey Live in 2020. But he didn't stop there. In 2024, he launched a new venture, Gas Monkey Sturgis, a new chapter in a new city with lessons learned and an image to rebuild. So was this all a cautionary tale about business deals gone wrong? Or was it a bold move by a businessman determined to protect his brand? Could it have been avoided? Or was the drama inevitable from the moment passion and pride were mixed with money and contracts? Do you think Richard had a right to pull the plug on the licensing deal? Or did he go too far trying to control a bar he didn't even own? If this story had you hooked, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. What shocked you most? The $1 million countersuit? The feud over whiskey branding? Or the way the bar had to completely rebrand? We've got more wild behind-the-scenes stories from the world of reality stars coming up, so stay tuned to our channel. See you in the next video.